Let's get started. Welcome to the webcast today on Product Deep Dive Autodesk Build. My name is Jotin, and I am the AEC Tech Consulting Lead here at VinZero. In this webinar, we will learn how Autodesk Build can connect data, workflows, and teams seamlessly through a live product demo. We'll first start by going over where Autodesk Build fits within the Autodesk portfolio of connected construction offerings, then homing in on Autodesk Build's features around field management, project management, and quality management. Please note that Autodesk Build comes with a mobile app called PlanGrid Build. And if you want more information on this, please get in touch after the webinar, as we won't be demoing the mobile application today. And there will be a short Q&A session at the end as well. Okay. Before we get into the main topics, just a brief overview of what VinZero is and does. We are a solutions organization that fosters innovation through delivering software and hardware solutions, consulting, training, development, and managed services. We've become a trusted advisor to our clients due to our breadth and depth of our service offering and technical expertise, our commercial agility, and understanding of customer service. Why VinZero? The combination of our brand partners under VinZero makes us one of the largest platinum partners for Autodesk globally. We have over 550 employees across 32 offices all over the world, covering around 25 languages. So the services we provide include data management and integrated solutions, BIM implementation, consulting services, CAD management services, on-site and online training, and customized content creation. Just a little bit about me. My name is Jotin Sharma. I have over 8 years experience in the construction industry as a BIM manager, designer, and technical instructor. Currently, my role at VinZero is that of a AEC Tech Consulting Lead, and my software skills include AutoCAD, Revit, the Autodesk Construction Cloud, Autodesk Build, Navisworks, Format, and 3ds Max. I actually completed a Bachelor of Science majoring in geology and physics before stumbling into the building industry, initially starting off as a draftee, transitioning into a Revit certified professional, and from there, a BIM consulting lead. Okay, so here's a bit of an agenda of what we'll be going through. As I mentioned previously, we'll first start by going over a high-level overview of Autodesk Build, which resides in the Autodesk Connected Construction portfolio offerings. We'll then go over a bit of a live demonstration of some of the functionality within Autodesk Build, such as sheets, markups, forms, and issue management, and some RFI workflows as well. Like I said before, there will be a Q&A session at the end. Okay, great. Now that the introductions and agenda points are done, we can get into the meat of the webinar. Let's go through a high-level overview of Autodesk Build, which is present within the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. So as we talk to our customers, we hear over and over again about these challenges that they face day in and day out. The construction industry is known for its traditionally low margins. According to Deloitte, globally, earnings before interest and tax on construction activities is just 5.5%. So even the smallest mistake can make or break the project. And the project themselves are becoming increasingly more complex, yet the schedule time keeps shrinking. Data silos, data and information is extremely siloed at the moment, making much of it unusable. FMI found that over 95% of all data in engineering and construction goes unused. There's a labor shortage at the moment as well. AGC reported that 80% of construction companies cannot find the workers they need. And, because of COVID, and among other things, there's distributed teams. Teams are becoming more and more distributed with stakeholders split between various offices. And all of this sort of challenges brings about uncertainty and risk into our industry. KPMG found that 78% of engineering and construction companies believe that project risks are increasing. But as we collaborate and partner with our customers, they keep coming back to 6 themes to overcome these challenges. Let's for a minute take a look at what that might look like on an individual project. To start improving and achieving success, all of these components don't need to be tackled at once. Let's talk about the potential if one or just a few of these were deployed. If we were to talk about increased collaboration, the possibilities here are endless. The phasing of work between trades can be better planned, leading to fewer delays, or with increased collaboration, issues and problems can be solved faster and better. A single source of truth, rework seems unavoidable. A study with PlanGrid and FMI found that rework caused by poor project data costs the industry around 280 billion annually. By working off of one single source of truth, teams can reduce those errors drastically. Connected 2D and 3D. Teams arm teams with both 2D plans and 3D models so they can better understand how components are installed and identify potential clashes before they hit the field. Improved data accuracy. With improved data accuracy, teams can better plan and forecast their projects. Having the most up-to-date view of work complete and project costs allows teams to understand if projects are running behind schedule or over budget sooner, mitigating the damage and providing more time to get back on track. Standardization. And by standardizing on one platform, teams are able to function more efficiently. There is no learning curve between projects, and company standards are always met. And last, but obviously definitely not least, is the digitization. By digitizing many of the processes, the gaps between distributed teams can be drastically closed. And that's really one of the big reasons why the value comes about in terms of the Autodesk Build. So what value does Autodesk Build bring to you? It can support your teams, your projects, and your businesses all in a connected way. For your teams, it provides every team member with specific tools they need to do their job and to collaborate with others, while supporting the digitization of tasks and centralized capture of data. For your projects, you can leverage data collected by teams to drive efficiencies and connect workflows from design through turnover, while delivering a real-time view of project status. And for your businesses, it helps understanding the health of project portfolios by extracting insights from collected data and providing data-driven guidance toward the levers to pull for organizational improvement and innovation. Now, just as this is a very nice slide I like to use, I keep referring to the Autodesk Construction Cloud when I am talking about Autodesk Build. Just to provide a little bit of clarity on this, the Autodesk Construction Cloud is a unified platform that connects workflows, teams, and data at every stage of construction to reduce risk, maximize efficiency, and increase profits. We can see a graphic here which broadly separates each stage of the construction lifecycle and what capabilities the ACC platform can provide at any said stage. So today we're talking about Autodesk Build, which fits into the build stage of the construction lifecycle. Just for your information, we've done webinars, or in fact, I've actually the one who conducted those webinars just in the recent past on the design phase of the Autodesk Construction Cloud. And I believe we will be doing a webinar fairly soon around the planning and operational side of the Autodesk Construction Cloud. And so this is how everything kind of fits together within this unified platform. Okay, and here's a very nice slide I like to use. It's a quick snapshot of all the different tools which are available within Autodesk Build. If you are interested in diving deeper into any of these, please get in touch. So we'll be previewing a couple, but if you're very interested in perhaps the cost management side, just get in touch with us after the webinar and we can go through it with you. Okay, now we can get into the actual demonstration side and see Autodesk Build in action. Again, I've got another agenda here on what areas we will be demoing. Please note everything I'm showing you today is using the web version of Autodesk Build. Autodesk Build is accompanied by a mobile app called PlanGrid Build, which is what all your subcontractors or your builders can use whilst they're on site. And if you do want to see a demo of what that looks like, please, get in touch with us. So we'll be going over how to first publish sheets into Autodesk Build so that the project members can view the drawings on site, create markups, add photos. Then we'll go through some quality management functionalities within Build, such as forms, then issue management, and just a very quick RFI workflow. Again, I keep saying this, there's a bunch more available. If you're interested, just get in touch with us because we only have a certain amount of time. Okay, let's get into the live demonstration side of things. That's what we're here for. Okay, so I'm just going to open up my browser here. So this is what the homepage of Autodesk Build looks like. And I'll just go over the different sides of exactly what you're seeing. Remember how I said before that you're in Autodesk Build, which resides in the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. You can see that at the top here. You see how it says Autodesk Construction Cloud? So we're in the platform and we're using the Autodesk Build module. Okay, and you can see that over here. You can see the project name on the side here. Okay, and I can click on this and I can select the project if I want to. Now, if I click on this little arrow next to Build, you can see I've got a bunch of other modules available. Again, this comes back to this connected construction workflow where you have different modules where different teams are working on them and making use of that functionality. So if I was part of the design team who's creating these 3D models, I'd be over here in design collaboration, sharing the models and working towards that IFC stage. There is model coordination available as well. And that's really the clash, rather live clash detection, which you can do in the cloud. And that's really, for your project engineers or your reviewers, so they can take a look at the models that the designers are creating and verify that they are correct. Build is for, obviously what we're here for today. It's for our contractors and for our builders and anyone involved in the construction stage. And there's cost management as well. We won't be going over cost management, like I say again today, but if you are interested in the costing side and how that can help you, just get in touch with us. The last one is insight, and insight is to do with very specific reporting, and there's actually a functionality in here that helps you identify project risk using some AI technology. So again, if you're interested in that sort of thing, just get in touch. So now we have a bit of an idea of what we're looking at. So it's our build module here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first start with sheets. Okay, so this is our sheets functionality. And if I click on this, okay, it's going to load our sheets functionality area here. Okay, so at the very top of each sheet, you can see the number. Down at the bottom, you can see the name. You can see the version. Okay, you can see the version set name over here, the discipline of each sheet, some tagging, which is available for you. And I'll show you how to kind of activate that. And you can see who it was updated by. Now, one of the really cool things you can do here is that you can utilize both the version set, the discipline, and the tag to quickly find the sheets that you're looking for. So if I click on this little filter button over here, you can see that I'm able to filter things by version set or based on this issuance date. I can choose what discipline I'm after. So perhaps I'm after architectural. It's going to go ahead and filter and show me all the architectural sheets. And I might choose a specific tag. So I've just for fun, I've added a mech tag as well that you can see here. One of the cool things you can do with tags, just as a case study, if you were to use Build on a live project, would be things like lot numbers, for example, or levels, or any other particular tagging that you want to use in order for your people that are going on site to be able to find the sheets they need quickly. So if you were using the PlanGrid Build app, you'd be able to see a list of these sheets and they can go ahead and filter and find what they need to find. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so how do we get sheets into this area? Well, there's an Add Sheets button over here. And if I click on this button, okay, you can see it gives me a Add Files area. And it gives me two options. It goes from Files and it goes from your computer. So if you have sheets, locked away in your hard drive or in your SharePoint, you can upload it straight from your computer. But I'm going to show you an alternative route as well. And again, this comes back to the connected construction workflow. Okay, so from your computer is an option. Okay, but if I close this, I'm going to go over here into the files area, and going to the files area here is essentially like going into the Autodesk Docs module, which is the document management side of things. So this is where all of the data initially sits. Okay, so I'm going to click on Files. And you can see here, I've got a bunch of folders here on a particular ISO standard. So again, admin, work in progress, share. This is where the design team members go about doing their designs. And then once they're finished and they're ready for, ready to issue them for construction, they might place it here under published. So if I go into the mechanical discipline, for example, I can see all of the PDFs that the design teams have published within this platform, which is ready for construction. So what I can do here is you can set up a review workflow if you like to ensure that these documents are correct prior to being in this container folder. But let's assume that everything's right. This is the final issuance for construction. I can just select all of these, right? All of these mechanical PDFs, which are ready. And I can hit this publish button here. And if I hover over it, it says publish to build sheets. So again, it's connecting all these different modules and workflows together. So instead of having files tucked away in my computer where I don't know if those files are actually the latest and they're correct, I can go into my single source of truth, which is in our Autodesk Docs. I can hit this publish button. I know that these are right because it's what the teams have issued after design. And I can now go ahead and start to place them into my sheets area. So I can add a new version set name if I want to, or I can add it to an existing revision set. So I might give this a set 9. You can add whatever naming conventions you'd like. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. I might give it an issuance date of today. So these documents came out today. And I'm going to go ahead and go next to sheet numbers. Okay. And it just gives me a quick warning just to say if your files include markups, they won't be included in the published sheets. That's fine. That's actually what we want. We want to have different markups for builders as opposed to what the design team was doing. So we can go ahead and hit continue. So now it's processing the sheets, and I'll show you once it comes through exactly what it's doing. It's actually going through and reading all of the PDFs and extracting as much information it can. You can see here that it's actually extracting the sheet number automatically. So the software will do its best to go ahead and find where is the most likely location to extract the sheet numbering, which is on this title blockers on the lower left-hand side. Now, I can see there's some 2 sheet number errors, which we'll address, but I just want to go over some additional stuff here. So we got the file name, the thumbnail, the sheet number, which has been extracted, and a revision history. So what it's doing is based on the naming and based on the sheet number and all the other technology that's working in the background, it's recognizing that these sheets have actually been published before in a previous set and giving us a bit of a revision history on them. So I can see here that these documents were actually published earlier on yesterday as part of set 7, and the first set came out in the 16th of February, 2022. Now, I've deliberately not addressed these issues at the moment, which I'll address now. So one of the easy ways you can, sort of figure out what's actually going wrong and move forward with it, we've got about 50 different sheets here. I'm not going to go through each one. I can just tick this, only show sheets with errors. So I'm going to click on these two, and it's going to make this list nice and easy for me to work with. So let's take a look at the error. It says sheet number duplicated on this list. So how about that? It's telling me that it's an actual issue with the document and that I need to address it. So it will not allow you to make, inappropriate mistakes as you're going through this publishing process. So I'm going to click on these two, and I can see the problem here is trying to read the upper right-hand side of the screen instead of the lower left-hand side, and that's fine. I can just click on draw sheet number area here to reconfigure for these two particular documents. So it's going to go ahead and just open that now. I can just scroll in. This is the area where I wanted to read. I'm just going to make it read that, and I can hit save and apply. And it's going to go ahead now and extract the appropriate numbering. Okay. While that goes on, I'm just going to show you some additional things you can do. You can also click on edit sheet numbers. You can choose the file name as a sheet number. You can manually number sheets sequentially. You can edit it with rules. You can reset. There's all sorts of stuff you can do. So that's now fully addressed. I can untick this, and I've got a nice full set, and it looks like everything is nice and easy. It doesn't look like I have any issues. I'm just going to go through it one more time. Yep. Oh, there's one thing over here. So let's take a look at why nothing's come through here. So if I open up this sheet, okay, I see the problem here. It doesn't have a title block at all, which sometimes happens when you're dealing with some sheets, and that's fine. We can address this. So I'm going to hit done, and I'm just going to unselect everything. Just going to select this, and I can use this edit sheet numbers, and I'm going to use file name as sheet number, and then I can just get rid of this other information we don't need, and now we've got our sheet number here. So that's fairly nice and straightforward because I'm able to determine that from that file name. So that's nice and easy. I've got my set here. Everything looks good. And I can now go ahead and go edit next to titles and tags. So it actually recognizes the sheet title automatically based on the first page. So we'll go ahead, read the first page, and then assign all the appropriate naming for it. So it's nice and easy. It will automatically tag because the first time I created the set, I attached these as mechanical. So the next time I'm using, the same, like a revision of the same set type, it's going to recognize that automatically. I can check all of this. And if I wanted to, I could edit the tags over here. I can add my own tags. So maybe I might add this as a particular lot number, like 20, and I can create that tag and have that if I want to as well. I'm just going to exit out. And I can just click on apply to selected sheets, and I've got that tag. Okay. And the last thing I would do is I would just hit publish sheets. Okay. Or I can hit save for later, which I might do for now. So I might just hit go save to later, and I'll just save. It's just telling me that my sheets haven't published yet, and it's now saved it in my publish log here, which is ready for review. And if I come back, I can publish them by hitting this continue here. Okay. I'm just going to come back into sheets. So this is an example of that connected workflow where you can take the documents that have been finished and designed straight into the construction stage, and what you're looking at is correct. And there's a couple more cool things you can do here, and I'll go through them now. If we, for example, take a look at sheet A-101A, so this one here, if I click on this, okay, it's just going to load that up on my web interface. Okay, you can see that you can actually do some markups and you can create issues, and I'll go through them now. So you can create markups by using this little toolbar over here. Okay, so whether it's text, cloud markups, call out. So if I draw a cloud here, you can see that I can do a call out if I wanted to and add some text. Okay, and I can do all sorts of stuff. I can have a pen and start drawing around it. But what I can also do, so if I was on site and I had PlanGrid built, I have this sheet, what I can do is I can create an issue if I see an issue that needs to be addressed, which is what we've done over here. Okay, we'll go through issues in a bit more detail, but just so that you know, you can create that issue within Sheets. You can give it a description, assign it to the appropriate people, assign it to other watchers as well. Okay, what you can also do is click on this little photo icon over here. So this photo is really, really cool. So if I click on this little photo button over here, and if I click on a part of the PDF, I can actually go ahead and add a photo and associate it with this markup. So this is really cool when you're on site. So you've got your mobile app. What you'll do is that you'll click on the photo button, you'll place it in this area, and it will directly go into the camera tool for your PlanGrid Build app, and you can just take a picture of whatever it is that you need to and address it later on. So you can really have this connected workflow where you're attaching photos and all sorts of information to the sheet. So everyone's working off the same detail. I'm just going to go ahead and exit off of that. And you can change what your markups look like with different colors, if you like. There's two more really, really cool things here that I'm really excited to show you before we move on. Do you see how on all these bubbles, it's got that shading of blue? So what Autodesk Build does is that it actually like analyzes all of your sheets and tries to find referring views for you, which is so useful when you're on site. So let's say, for example, I was on site and I was taking a look at this area and I needed to check this A-212 sheet to make sure that the details are correct. Well, what I would do is that I'd literally just click on this, okay? And it would show me the sheet, the referring sheet A212, and I'll just click on this and it will take me to the exact sheet that I need to take a look at. So Twitch is just opening up now. So you can see here it says A212, and you can see that here. So now I can check if the elevation's correct, if there's any sort of problems with it whatsoever, without having to go back. So if I was to exit off this, without having to go back, hitting the search tool and finding that appropriate document, it's actually linking it for me, which I think is a really, really cool functionality. And just to round this off, there is the compare tool over here. So what you can do with compare is that on site or even in your web browser, you can compare two different documents with each other, either by their own versions or two completely separate documents. So what it does is it actually puts two documents on top of each other and gives them two different color coding. So I'll give you a very obvious example, just so visually you can see. I'm going to choose something that's wildly different. So go partition sets. So you can see these two documents are very different. So it'll be quite easy for us to spot. And I'm going to hit the compare tool. And it's going to go ahead, put both of them on top of each other. Okay. So it's just doing that now. And you can see that. So one document is in red, one is in blue. And if you work with AutoCAD before, you know what these little kind of eye icons mean. They're just layers, and you can turn them on and off to see one or the other. So now very quickly, you can see the differences between, different versions or the same, different documents, whatever the case may be. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and exit out. Okay. So that's a little bit of an overview on Sheets. Again, if you want more information, please get in touch. We know we're not going to go over every single little thing. So if you want to understand how this aligns with your workflow and the things that you can do, just get in touch with us after the webinar. Okay, the next thing we'll probably go through, one of the things I also really, really like is forms. Okay, so forms is a way of how you can ensure this connected quality management from a digital perspective. Okay, so if I click on forms, you can see here I've got two different areas. I've got forms, and then I've also got templates. Okay, so templates is really cool. So I'm going to click on templates just for a second, and you can see I've got a couple. So these are the ones that come out of the box, and I've just created one new one for now called incident report, which I'll go over. But the idea behind templates is that you can have, the people that you trust that are part of the quality control process create these digital forms, these digital form templates for your organization. And what that means is that when the builders or contractors or whoever it is goes on site to create forms around, daily reporting, whether it's safety, processes around checking if someone has built something correctly, whatever the case may be, they can build out these templates. So when the guys or girls go on site, they can create the forms on their iPad or their mobile phone and have it all connected in this one place. So templates is a way of how you can control how these forms look and how they're created, which I'll go through in just a second, and also forms themselves. So how the builders or contractors will view these forms and how they use them on site. So if I click on this create icon, you can see I've got a create template button. So if I click on this, it asks me two options. I can either build a new form, okay, a completely new template, or I can upload an existing PDF, smart PDF for the users to use on site. So if you have a historical data of forms that you would like to continue to use and you like them being already in that smart PDF form, you can choose to do that, or you can build digitized forms for them to be able to use from their mobile or PlanGrid perspective as well. So you have both options available. I'm going to click on this incident report, the one that I've created, just to give you a bit of a sample. So I'm going to click on modify template. Over here, you can see who's allowed to contribute, who's allowed to review, what the managers are. So the idea is that, no random person can just jump in and edit this form template. Only your trusted, QS and QA people will be able to make changes. Okay, so I'm going to click on modify template. Okay, and you can see here I've kind of built this digitized form. I've got project information, and I can choose what type of responses I expect from the people when they're using my form. So I'm expecting text responses for this section. I'm expecting pre-configured responses. So yes, no questions, true, false, plus, minus, pass, fail. Initial actions, which is a text response. I can choose, I'm expecting date responses in this area. I'm also expecting number responses in this area, and so on and so forth. There's drop-down responses as well. One of the things I didn't add on here, which I think is a cool new functionality, you can see my little bar keeps dropping down as I'm scrolling. This is how I can add additional sections and additional parts to create my particular form. See how it says equipment and materials? I'm going to click on equipment. So watch this. If I click on equipment, it says assigned users will be able to track equipment by clicking on add equipment. So what this is essentially saying is that if you add this functionality, you can actually start to now have a control on what equipment is being used on site. And it's the same thing with materials. If I turn on materials, the assigned users will be able to track materials as well. So you can track materials on site and you can track equipment on site as well. Again, if you want to know how this works, just get in touch with us. So I'm just going to delete these two because I don't want them in an incident form. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit cancel. Okay. So we've created our template. Now let's look at what someone would see if they were actually using my particular form. So I'm going to go to this forms area, and what they would do either on their app or on the web version, they just click on create form. And they'd click on incident report, which is my template. Yep, we're going to create a new draft of this. And you can see here, this is what it looks like. So I can type in the project name, number, data report. So I can fill in all this information. You can see how it's giving me different types of actions based on the settings that I've set it. One of the cool things it's also giving you in these forms is this photos, issues, and notes area. So you can add an additional note here to this particular area, or you can create an issue or create a photo that is assigned to this particular location. So if I scroll down, I have a very cool example. So let's say, for example, we've got injury or illness details. So we can say, yep, the type of injury is actually going to be skeletal, and the body location, let's say, is forearm. Well, that's cool, but I actually want photo evidence, and I want to be able to track this, and I want to actually grab intelligent data and not just be, because if someone comes back in a week and says, well, you filled this in and this is the location of the injury, do you have any evidence of that? And now people will be scrambling around trying to find this particular photo. But what I can do here is that I can assign a photo to this. So I can click on photo, okay? And it's going ahead and finding my previous photo references, and I can just click on this and I can click on add photo. And if I do this, it's going to now associate a photo with this particular area. So now if 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, if I ever come back to this, I know exactly what I'm looking at, okay? And if you are using your PlanGrid, PlanGrid Build app, what you could do instead is you would just click on the photos, okay? And it'll open up your camera and you just take a picture, okay? So it's that simple, and it'll just straight up upload it back into your particular form, okay? I'm actually going to, actually, no, we'll go ahead. And what you can do is that you can also create issues, okay? So you can assign issues to this particular form if it's something that you want to track. So I'm going to hit create. We'll actually create an issue. And you can see here it's given me an automatic title of safety. It knows it's safety because the form that I've created is a safety related form. So it's giving me that information already. I can give it a description. I can assign it to a particular person who's going to resolve this. I can set watches, and what watches are people who need to understand that there is an issue, but aren't necessarily involved in solving it, but they just need to know, and it gives them a email notification on it. You can add location details, a due date, and a root cause as well. So you can see an example of that all over here. And I can assign any issue I want to this particular form. I can also, if I want to, add references. Okay, so I can add references to other files, other forms, or other assets as well. That comes back to that, material and equipment tracking. Okay, so that's how forms work in a nutshell. Obviously, just like with everything else, there's a lot more that it can do. But just feel free to ask us exactly what you require. And once you're done with your particular form, if you ever need to have it as a hard copy or send it across to the right people, you can just hit this export selected area, and it will do is it will automatically generate that PDF report for you, and it'll include the asset information, include any files that have been attached, include issues, and it'll include photos as well that will be ready for us. Okay, and you can just hit the generate button. And it doesn't just have to be this one. You can select all of them if you want to, and export all of them. There is another way you can do reporting, which is a reporting functionality here, where you can create automatic reports like every week if someone's done safety issues, or if someone has on-site issues or building consent issues, whatever the case may be. Okay. And just to top this off, under templates, these are the ones that come out of the box. So you got your sample timesheet, job hazards, daily safety, daily reporting. So you can create all sorts of different types of forms, okay? And we can actually, when we work with you to implement Autodesk Build, we can actually build out quite a lot of these forms for you if you don't have them ready to go, if you do want to move forward with Autodesk Build. Okay. The next thing we'll go over is the issues management. So you can see when we were creating our forms, when we were doing our sheets, there was an ability to create issues and assign it to people to address them. Well, the central hub of where all of that sits is in this issues area over here. Okay, so if I click on issues, this is my little central hub of all the different issues in here. And I can see some are currently in review, some clash issues, and then some that are still pending to be resolved. So this is around design, and some are still in the open stage. So some building consent issues in here. I'm just going to click on any one of these just for, I might click on the building consent one just to show you. So this is a door swing issue, okay? And you can see the type is design building code, and the description is please check the direction of the swing on this door. It's been assigned to an architect. So when you assign it to a role, what that means is that every single person who's part of that role will get a notification on this issue. And so you have multiple people who are looking at this, which gives you a quicker response time, right? Again, that comes back to that initial discussion we had. And we're talking about collaboration. The more people that can see the issue, the quicker someone will be able to respond. Okay. And the other really, really cool thing here is that there's a references column. Okay. So you can retrospectively attach additional information to this issue and have it as part of other areas within Build. So if I click on Add References, you can see here I can attach photos, I can attach files, I can actually tie it to scheduling, as well as probably one of the reasons why scheduling has been delayed by an additional week. So if someone's like, hey, why are we waiting around for another week? We have a direct situation which we can discuss from an issue standpoint. You can assign it to RFIs, forms, submittals, PCO, which is more on the cost management side. So you can see how everything in this platform is interconnected, so that when you're discussing with someone any issues or anything that you want to, you can always go back to supplementary information. Okay. So that's a little bit around issues. Now, obviously, if I click on these issues, you see how it's got a couple of questions. If I'm not happy with some of the questions that's in here, I can actually create my own. I can go into settings and I can click on customized fields and create my own fields of information I need to find. I can assign permissions so that only the right people are able to create issues and respond to them. And I can also add root causes for issues as well. If you are looking into Autodesk Build, I would recommend that you talk to us about configuring this, especially with root causes, because if you have the right root causes, there's AI technology that can work in the background to actually help give you an understanding of how the root cause can tie with project risk. Okay. All right. So far, we've gone over sheets, we've gone over issues, and we've gone over forms. What we'll do then is just move on to RFIs, which is this RFI location here. Okay, this is actually a really, really cool functionality, and there's one cool thing in here that I'm really, really excited to show you. So what I'm going to do, so I've got one here that I've already generated, obviously, but I'm going to click on Create RFI. Actually, before I do, let me go into settings and show you what the workflow of this RFI looks like within the Build platform. So I'm going to click on RFI types under settings over here. And you can see I've got a default RFI workflow. Okay. And if I wanted to, I could click create my own RFI type. But what does that mean? So what the workflow type means is basically what is the workflow that this RFI needs to go through to then be authorized. Okay. So right now, this is the default one, which is between manager, reviewer, and manager. And if you want to see a more detailed workflow, we can click on this little button over here, which gives us a nice flow diagram. So it starts off in draft, and the creator and manager can see this. Then it gets submitted, and the manager now can view this and decide where it needs to go next. So it can either move on to the reviewer, or if it's not appropriate, it will just close. They can go ahead and close it, and it'll go back to the creator of the RFI. Once it's in the reviewer's area, the reviewer can either reject it, okay, and give it straight back to the manager, who will then understand the reasoning why it got rejected and close it out, which will let the creator know, or they will go ahead and they'll answer it, and it will go back to the manager as an official response, which will then head back to the creator once it's been closed by the manager. Okay, so this is a more detailed workflow of what this RFI process looks like. Okay, and you can go ahead though, and if I click on this little create RFI type, if I click on workflow type, I'm just going to add a title and say test, doesn't matter. Okay, this is a new one that just got added recently. So this is a default one where it just goes between the reviewer and the manager. But now if you want, you can have an RFI workflow if you have a designated RFI coordinator. And basically what this detailed workflow looks like, if I click on this detailed workflow here, you can see here it's a little bit more complicated because the coordinator is now involved. So if you have a company where you have a designated RFI coordinator, what happens is that The creator, goes to the manager, which will then go to the coordinator. So there's that extra step process. If you do want to understand what this all looks like in a bit more detail, just get in touch with us. Okay, but you can see that we've digitized this whole workflow so that as they're going through this review steps, it all actually gets captured within Autodesk Build. Okay, and I'm going to show you what that looks like into this closed RFI here. Okay, so this is a closeout of a RFI workflow that we've just done. Okay, so you can see here that initially there was some general information around what the question was. There was a suggested answer. Okay, it used the default RFI workflow. Initially, it came through to me to review. I had a code reviewer with me. It had a cost impact and a schedule impact. There was a reference sheet that was there as well to help with the process. And it had some additional information such as the discipline, category, and priority. And over on this right-hand side is the history of the workflow process it went to. So the RFI was initially created. It was in review. It got sent to the manager, which is myself and Brendan. And we got asked a question. We then approved it, sent it across as an official response. We can see here, it should be 100 millimeters higher. And we added that reference that we need to. And now it went ahead and closed out. So you can see a full history. So if anyone ever needs to grab this information to verify if an RFI process was conducted correctly, you could just go ahead and export this. And you could even export with attachments. And this is actually in beta at the moment. So it's actually just got released in the last couple of weeks, I believe. And what this means is that you can export this reference document as an attachment as well. So you've got the full information with you. So if I go back to RFI, so click on create RFI, so you see what it looks like from an initial standpoint. So we got the initial status up here. We got the RFI number. We can give it a title. We choose the type of workflow, which is just going to be the default for now. We can choose who it needs to go to from a manager perspective, and you can customize who are the actual managers, okay, that are in Autodesk Build. But there's something else that's cool here. It says assign to email. What this means is if I hover over the eye icon, it says allow a non-member to respond to the RFI by email. So what it means by that is that obviously, sometimes you need an official response from people that are outside of your Autodesk Build project. Like you don't need to buy a license for them just for them to respond to an RFI. That would be pretty silly, right? So what you can do is you can just assign it to email and just email the person, and whatever they respond back with, you'll actually be able to grab that data and have it in place within your build platform. Okay, so it's not just, you don't only have to send it to people that have bought a license and are part of your project. You can send it to people outside of your project as well. So you're always sending it to the right person. You can add code reviewers, so other reviewers that need to be a part of this as well. You can attach a due date. You can set a location. So where in the building location does this RFI sit? You can give it a question, a suggested answer. You can add a reference. So again, tying back to that connected cloud workflow, you can tie it back to a sheet, tie it back to a file, a form, or a PCO. So there's actual reference material as well. You can decide whether or not this RFI has a cost impact, a scheduling impact, the priority of this RFI, discipline, category, external ID, and watchers. Again, to reiterate what watchers are people who need to know that an RFI has been created, but they're not necessarily part of the process themselves in resolving it, but they just need to be aware. So it could be like your project managers or your schedulers, if you think it's going to obviously impact your schedule. Okay. And if I'm actually unhappy, excuse me, I'm just going to go back. If I, again, click on this create RFI, if I'm unhappy with any of these areas and I need to add supplemental information that is like unique to my organization, that's going to tie back, I can actually go into settings over here and click on customized fields. So what customized fields are is you can create customized fields that are going to feed back into your RFI that are unique to you. So you're requesting additional information. I think there was an RFI that I created for a construction company recently where they tie it back to their own scheduling purposes. So they have a code for scheduling and cost in terms of like what type of cost it is. So obviously that doesn't come out of the bag. That's unique to their company. So they actually went ahead into customized fields and created that for themselves and have it as part of their RFI process. Okay, and obviously at any point you can export this, send it out as reporting. Okay, so that's a little bit of a teaser and a bit of a dive as well at the same point in terms of Autodesk Build. We went over sheets, we went over issues, forms, and RFIs, and I've kind of shown you how all of these are interconnected and are also connecting back into other areas of the Autodesk Construction Cloud through files, through that document management area as well. Okay, what we'll do is we'll go ahead now into some question and answers. Looks like that. Yeah, we've got 10 minutes left, so that's pitch perfect. Please feel free to ask any questions you would like on what we talked about today. Again, please note that because we only have an hour, there are only some functionalities I've highlighted. If you're interested in more and you want to understand Build a little bit more and how it fits into your existing workflow, just get in touch with us afterwards or reach out to your account manager at Vinzero.